cannot kill me.
I'm not aiming at you.
This changes nothing.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. So, in the end of our current battles against Xal'atath and her Nerubian armies, we see her using the black blood around the battlefield to further empower the Dark Heart from our emotions. Eerily similar to how the Shah were like in Mist of Pandaria. We see her draining a voided up Beladar of its potent void energies. Fortunately, Hilaria, mastering all that she's learned throughout her journey of hitting and missing her target, we finally see her aim for something else, the Dark Heart. Cracking it and unleashing all of that void energy out and about, causing Xal'atath to fume with anger for the first time, and disappearing. Our favorite mage Khadgar is freed and then saved from death thanks to Anduin's reconnection to the light. All's well, it ends well, right? Well, this might be the first victory in a while, I'd say, and we've got Khadgar back. And while Xal'atath thinks it mattered very little, it is a bit of a turning of the tide moment, as it does delay Xal'atath and whatever her schemes exactly are. Beladar, or something like Beladar, maybe the Sunwell, seems to be the key in what I assume is summoning Dementius to Azeroth, or unlocking the world soul of Azeroth for Xal'atath to take for herself. And I suppose you can see the Dark Heart as a way to unlock that key. A key to the key. And with that broken, Xal'atath has not only lost her means of carrying on her plan, but also her ace in the hole. There's a reason why she had a Rotocron grab that for her, and why she hadn't enacted any of her plans until now. The Dark Heart is able to drain and destroy entire cities. Best powerful mages. It's her double-edged sword, or rather, disc. She's mostly untouchable, but also needs the Dark Heart to best her opponents down, and get whatever it is that she's after through it. So I think I know what her next obvious move is, and that is to fix the Dark Heart. I don't think it's fully kaput, and could still be saved most certainly, and while I think we'd like to imagine that's something she can easily just do with a wave of her hand, I see Xal'atath not only as the type who'd have others fix it, as she's above such things, but also, she's not really the one who made the Dark Heart. That fell to Neltharion, aka Deathwing, who's long since dead, and unless she's going to dig him out of the maelstrom or whatever afterlife he's fallen into, I think she's gonna have to find somebody else to find out how to fix this. Which is where I have two guesses to who I think that'll turn to. The first being Trade Prince Jaster Gallywix, whom we've not seen since he departed from the gates of Orgrimmar when Sylvanas left the Horde. He seemingly tagged along with her to the Shadowlands, striking deals with the brokers, and then nothing. However, we've seen a large amount of goblins all throughout the Ringing Deeps and in Azj-Kahet. Somehow they're already down there, and I doubt there's a coincidence to that. They were sent down there by somebody, and a large amount of them are Venture Co., or this new group that is called the Dark Fuse, which sounds vaguely similar to the Black Fuse company we dealt with under Hellscream's regime, and allies of the Iron Horde. We've not heard a peep from them since in a while too. And this Dark Fuse company seems to be working in the Ring Deeps, looking for something for Gallywix. It could simply be Earth and technology, or perhaps it has something to do with the Great Tree that the Heronir are guarding. But more importantly, who's the new leader of these goblins? Nothing confirmed yet, but I think it's none other than Gallywix. Why? Well, Mazdunk, the original leader of the Venture Co. company, was ousted by Gallywix, who tasked us with dealing with him after a deal regarding Azerite fell through. So, we journeyed to Kazan to Crapopolis, yeah, that's its name, and took him and his Ventrico cronies out. Now they're leaderless. And who bought out Crapopolis? Galliwix did. Who wanted their leader gone? Galliwix did. He seemed to have been playing the long game of acquiring the Ventrico as his assets for a while now. And since Galliwix is a whiz in the biz when it comes to gold and running cartels, sorry I tried to figure out something to rhyme with biz, but it was lost on me. It would make sense that he'd opt for a new company of goblins and other sorts after bailing on the Bilgewater cartel, which often didn't really like him that much and seemed to favor the Horde and other goblins more anyhow. The Ventrico company doesn't seem to be that against poor management and seemed down to just do about anything, even if it meant harming Azeroth for their own profits. A perfect organization for Galliwix to get his hands on. So, why goblins? Why Galliwix? To fix the Dark Heart, you might be wondering. Well, besides the fact that Galliwix seems to have a thing for working for corrupted, evil, dead ghost ladies, and doing anything on their behalf, so long as he's paid or compensated, the Dark Heart would make the most sense to be fixed by goblins. Why, you might ask? Because back in the day, the Dragon Soul, later named the Demon Soul, was actually originally constructed by goblins back in the day, under Neltharion's exact instructions and schematics. Does this mean that the Dark Heart was also constructed by them? Possibly, as it was the precursor to the Dragon Soul as we mentioned, according to Chromie at least. And with it all cracked up, it just makes sense for Xal'atath to turn to the same race that created its successor, or helped create its successor. Plus, they would probably be the one few organizations and races willing to do so with that sort of work. In spite of the fact that Xal'atath uses most people, leaving them to die in the aftermath of her own schemes. And you know, the fact that she wants to take Azeroth for herself and for the Void. I don't think that'll bother the goblins very much, so long as they're paid and compensated proper. I'd imagine Galliwix and Xal'atath would bargain much in the same way that she has with everyone. What does Galliwix want? Probably some form of safety net, power, revenge, gold, and maybe in on Xal'atath's own schemes so that he can play ahead of that board. Xal'atath may even leave out exact details of what she wants. Again, he was pretty much open to Sylvanas' own plans enough to stick out near the end of it all, and she ended up, blowing up the sky and all that, and leading us into the afterlife, fun jazz. Regardless, I think that Xal'atath will task Galliwix, or more importantly, really just his more scientific goblin goons, into fixing the Dark Heart, as I doubt Galliwix himself will personally do the job, and will more or less task somebody else to do it under him. This could lead us in returning to the places of old, like Aberith, Deepholm, Neltharion's Lairs, and so on. Or Galliwix just needs to get the right components found within the very depths of Azeroth's Earth. Like Xal'atath already has the means to fix it, but needs the goblins to do the job itself maybe. Maybe that is why we see so many goblins from the Undermine already present. That Galliwix already has sights on something there, and that'll be what Xal'atath offers to help him with in order to get what she wants, maybe. Like I said earlier, maybe it's that great tree that I mentioned. Or the tree is something that Xal'atath wants, and Galliwix wants something else altogether, and they plan out a team to get both sides of that coin. It's not actually coin, it's a powerful ancient world tree, but profit. And this will be why confronting Galliwix within the new bastion inside the Goblin City of Undermine maybe will prove to be vital. But now that he's allied with the enemy of all in Xal'atath, I'd say it's even more of a precedent to take him down. And preventing her from getting her coveted trinket will prove even more vital, I'd say, once we learn what he's up to. A mission I think that will fall to the likes of Gazlo, the Bilgewater cartel's leader, and the cartel itself, and potentially even Thrall, who had some scores to settle with Galliwix, I guess, and his own connection to the Dragon Soul that may prove valuable somehow. I don't know, I just want Thrall to do stuff. Is it too much to want him to lead the Horde on this mission alongside his buddy Gazlo? I don't think so. Alternatively to the goblins, that secondary person I mentioned earlier perhaps Xal'atath will look elsewhere, more closely to her triumvirate of baddies, her inner circle of sorts, namely her major ally of Eridikron, who gifted her this very relic. While Eridikron didn't make the relic himself, he is the closest thing to an Eltharion in this era, due to his rivalry with Aspect back in the day. And he did seem to have a decent understanding of the relic in spite of barely ever using it. Now, Eridikron has seemingly dipped out entirely from this war, and I don't think he's about to join it this early. He did tell us twice in a row that he's not going to be returning until the Titans do to enact his own revenge plan. But I think we could still at least see him in the shadows or as a hologram of sorts, of some kind maybe. He's likely to be the main villain for Last Titan, or one of the major ones, and I don't think there's anything wrong with showing him briefly and reminding us that he's still active on Azeroth somewhere. Truthfully, I would only have this be a means to sort of get a conversation going between the two while he mends the Dark Heart. Get the conversation ball rolling of how they met. What are their thoughts on each other? Show us how and why they need each other more, and why Eridikron is a bit more clever than her other allies. Maybe even hint at Ajara within the room while they are communicating. Hint hint. And maybe just let Eridikron give Xal'atath some sass about breaking the relic of his old rival this early on in the conflict. This could also be a good time to maybe elaborate that if the Dark Heart takes any more damage, this is it for it, maybe. Simply just having them have this dialogue while fixing the Dark Heart, and us listening in on it could be interesting, almost setting us up for the two and what is in store for us and the rest of Azeroth when the time comes. In theory, you could pull both of these off, really. The goblins in gathering the components to fix the Dark Heart, and Eridikron being the one who fixes it for her with said components. Could even be vague about it and show his silhouette in a portal to mirror the one we saw with Xal'atath when he handed the Dark Heart the first time to her. I don't know. I love shit like that where it's like they kind of do the opposite. Look, I clearly just want Eridikron to do something. I miss the big lug, and I'm eager to see him again in Last Titan. Either way, I suspect that Xal'atath has to get somebody to fix the Dark Heart, and whether that falls to Eridikron, the goblins, or something else like the ethereal agents that she has under her umbrella, we'll just have to see. But those are my overall speculative thoughts on what is the next plan for Xal'atath and the gang. What do you think? Do you think Galvix is going to help her out? Maybe Eridikron? Someone else? Let me know your thoughts down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Feel free to join us on the Discord, where we can talk about all sorts of stuff and things. We'd love to have you. And if you like me enough, you can support me on my Patreon, like these amazing folks here. But until next time,